Yes. Alright, so moving on, I promoted it on the Twitter and I promoted it on the Facebook that I was going to be giving you guys some advanced tips here, right? These are some creme de la creme tips that I'm going to be closing this off with, and it's going to tell you how to maximize your bonus balls, and it's also going to give you some tips on how to do like a low man kind of clear, like how you can figure it out for yourself so you don't have to take my word for it. So I'm going to teach you how that's done. So closing out of Paint, I'm going to minimize this in case I need it later. Oh wow, and we're back to the infinity screen here. Bum bum. I got a calculator up and ready because I know I'm going to need it. But yeah, using Pokebattler.com, you can figure out how to maximize your damage ball bonus, and you can also figure out how to arm yourself for a low man party clear. So my buddy SwagTips reports to me that in order to get the 3 damage balls, right, the 3 damage balls that you want to get for dealing a certain amount of damage to the raid boss, not a lot of people are too sure how you cross that threshold. Well, you cross that threshold when you deal at least, see, Boo's on it, when you deal at least 20% damage to the raid boss. So how do I know if I'm dealing that 20% damage, right? So I got simulations here, Confusion Shadow Ball 1, and I have them set to single right now, right? Not like me, I got a girlfriend. Oh, I'm so cool. Right, so level 39, just because that's what I like to do, no dodging. So we see here that you got overall, and that's like a combination of DPS and TDO. You know, so overall, if you want to know what the middle of the road is. And oh yeah, not a lot of people are sure of the first threshold. Yeah, you're right. But 15% is 2 balls. So that's another thing to mention, yes. So if you want 2 balls for dealing damage, 15%. If you want to get that 3, you need to deal 20%. And if you're competing with like 10, 12, 16, 20 people, you know, and you're fighting that thing really fast, and you're going to burn it down really quickly, you might not get that 3 balls. But if you purposefully limit your party, you know, who you're playing with, you could poise yourself into a position where not only can you get the team bonus because you're playing with just your team members, but you can also poise yourself to get the 3 ball bonus because you're only playing with 4 or 5 people, right? So that's what this advanced swag tip is bringing you into. Oh man, almost knocked over my water. Alright, so taking you guys into Math City, right? So down here we have power, and that says 24%, right? And power is basically TDO, right? To get TDO for an individual Pokemon for power on Pokebattler raids, specifically raids, you have to divide this number by 6, because the power it's giving you is if you were to use 6 of the same exact Pokemon in that fight. So we got 24 here, right? So saving that for later, 24 divided by 6, that's actually pretty easy, 4%. So that means 1 Bite Crunch Tyranitar at level 39 for each life it has is giving you 4% of value, right? And then here we have Time to Win. And Time to Win is like effective combat time. Basically, it's how long it would take a Tyranitar to defeat a Mewtwo, a single Tyranitar, if it were to be immune to death, right? So if a Tyranitar is going on and it's straight swagging all the way through, ain't nothing touching it, against this Shadow Ball Confusion Mewtwo, it would take Tyranitar on average 672 seconds, 0.8. And this death number here tells you how many Tyranitars will faint before you get to that win. So what you want to do is divide this number by 24. Close. You want to divide it by 25. And in fact, it might be worthwhile to divide it by an even slightly higher number to give you like room for error, you know, because these are simulations. These are Monte Carlo simulations, you know. So it's an average. So there is a way for you to perform higher. There is a way for you to perform lower, right? But if you want to find out, you know, how much that one Tyranitar is doing, you know, so we got what? Gotta write this down. 672.8, and then that's 24, and so we're gonna go to my calculator, buddy. Oh boy, high tech. And so we've got 672.8, and we're going to divide it by 25, right? We're not going to give ourselves too much wiggle room here. And that gives you 26.9, right? So that means a single Tyranitar, for the clear here, will likely faint in 26.9-ish seconds. And in that 26.9-ish seconds, you're going to be taking out 4% of Mewtwo's health, right? So then you can take that, and if you want to know what it's going to be like if you're using 6 Tyranitars, then you multiply this number by 6. And you're like, okay, I'm using 6 Tyranitars. Boom. That's going to take me 161 seconds before all 6 of my Tyranitars are going to faint. And what's 4 times 6? That's like 24. So in that 161 seconds-ish, 161-ish seconds, you're going to be dealing roughly 24% of Mewtwo's health. So if you're going in doing 24%, and you got 3 friends going in, oh man, you're not quite making it, right? But you could bring in a 5th friend. And if you got 5 friends, then you're for sure going to be clearing Mewtwo under these circumstances. So now you're equipped with the knowledge to do the math yourself. You're like, okay, so I take the power, and I divide the power by 6, right? You can divide it by a slightly higher, a 6 point something if you want some room for error, so you feel a little bit more comfortable. And then you take this time to win, and then you divide it by that 24, and I'd say add 1 to maybe 3 to it to give you some room for error, some breathing room, right? How does it work if someone faint? All his damage are forgotten. Yeah, so that's if they faint and they're down and out, right? But these are 6 Tyranitars, right? 6 Tyranitars. And so if you power through with all 6 of your Tyranitars, that's going to be 24% of Mewtwo's health. So if you have, 4 other friends helping you out with that, then you're that's over 100% of Mewtwo's health. So you shouldn't be in that situation where somebody faints if you all did your math and made sure that this is something that you guys can do, right? So, nobody fainting then. And if somebody does faint and you want to like pull their weight, you know what I mean? You're like, oh, they fainted, but it's in the red. If they don't jump back in, and if they stay out, and you guys are feeling safe with each other that you guys can still do this, I'm not, advocating sitting and letting people do stuff for you, but if you guys are sure you're going to do it and you're all in this together, then you should be fine. As long as you don't add in that second team, all your damage bonus will carry over to the final round. But in the simulation, it takes your alone to attack. We're left. So yeah, okay. So with Pokebattler, it's like it simulates that there are 6 of you using 6 of the same Pokemon, and then it also throws in some extra energy. At the end of the day, all I can really tell you is that it's a simulation, and it's one of the best simulations we have for this. And it's been working for other people who have been trying to do challenge clears for Entei and Raikou and Zapdos and stuff like that. So I'd say it's definitely reputable to attempt to figure out how to do it this way. Now, if it doesn't work out for you, then you might want to show up to that raid a little bit earlier and catch the wave. You know what I'm saying? So some new information here to help people math out, and that's another reason why I'm advising don't divide by 24. Maybe be a little bit wary about dividing by 25, but if you divide by a higher number, it gives you some room for error in the event that doesn't work out that way, Now, there is a way to needlepoint this situation a little bit more, and that involves using 5 Tyranitars and what, dare I say it, Blissey, right? Blissey. Now, one thing that's a little known fact about Pokebattler is in the raid scenario, Blissey is, would glitched be a good way to say it? Blissey is incorrect. And what's incorrect about Blissey is that it times out when you go into the simulation for it. So if I click on this guy, you can see that rather than fainting out at the 6th Blissey, it just times out, right? It's, oh, what? That's it? What? So a way that you can quantify what's going on with Blissey is you could add up these 4 numbers and make an average of them, or you can just take one that you think is fair. Like, okay, so let's say Blissey dealt 720 damage to this Mewtwo, right? Mewtwo's max HP is 12,498, right? So then you just divide 720 by 124.98, right? And then you find out how much percentage of Mewtwo's health that one Blissey does. And if you want to find out what the time is there, oh man, this is going to get a little bit of a headache, right? Getting a little hangover here. You go to the combat log, and is it going to do it for me? Nice. No, I've got to click more, and it's going to freeze on me a little bit, because it always does. Come on, be my friend today, Pokebattler. Of all the times to be my friend, Pokebattler. So, when that unloads, you'll be able to see at what time that particular Blissey faints, right? And at that time, you'd be able to subtract the time that it faints. Pokebattler, you're letting me down right now. You're letting me down. Alright, take my word for it. If you go to the combat log and your computer doesn't freeze, there we go, party time. Alright, so it starts the fight at 300 seconds, right? And, well, 299, whatever. You're scrolling down, scrolling down, scrolling down. When the heck is this Blissey thing gonna die? It never dies, right? And that's why it times out. Fainted, right? At about 227.8. So if you subtract that from 300, now you know how long it's going to take for one Blissey to faint. So if you go with that, 720 divided by 12,498, that's how much percentage that one Blissey is going to do. And now you know the time that's going to do it, and it ends up being a bit higher. Let me bust out my calculator again, right? So that damage percentage, come on, be my friend. We got 720. Oh man, and we got 12,498. Boom, and then you multiply that by 100. Boom. So you're dealing 5.76, right, percent damage on average, and that's much higher than what you're doing to Tyrantars. Tyrantars were 4%, right? But it takes longer to get there, so you don't want to load up your party with a bunch of Blisseys. But this is a situation. Where you can feel a bit more comfortable with having a Blissey in the 6th slot in a lower party situation to try to secure your damage bonus and try to secure your challenge clear, right? Now, as you can imagine, this whole situation is a lot more tenuous with what's it called? Focus Blast Mewtwo, right? And in that situation, Lugia is going to be jumping in to save the day, using a combination of Dragonites and Gyarados and Lugias will net you this result. But now you have the tools, you have the knowledge that I've bestowed upon you. Oh god, it's going to load forever, right? Now you have the knowledge to do that. So I'm going to go over it one more time. And that works better than Snorlax. In the situation of Shadow Ball, yes, it works a bit better than Snorlax. Snorlax is like as good, if not a baby bit better than Tyranitar is. So 6 slotting, Snorlax in will give you a bit of extra cushion, but Blissey in this specific scenario will give you even more cushion than Snorlax would. And you can also, math that out yourself. You see 24.7, and Snorlax ain't timing up. I missed your SwagTips due to the raid. Do you have a recording? I'm still recording. Tommy, right? Ugh. No, I love Tommy. He's the best. There's a list of instincts in my region that are like the best, and Tommy's definitely one of the best, right? If you know Tommy, you know he's the best. I don't even know if he likes the name Tommy. I digress. Back to the math, right? So Snorlax doesn't have that timeout issue, and you can see the power that it does. So you divide that number by 6, and then for the time to win, you divide it by the number of deaths plus 1 or 2 or more if you want that extra cushion, right? And then when you swap to Pokebattler giving me issues. All right, I'm not going to swap to the other moveset, and I'm already overclocking here a little bit for you guys. So I'm gonna keep going on with what I had planned to go on. But this is a very content intensive thing here. So you're sitting at home, right? And you're like, well, Ryan Swag, I don't have all these Pokemon, I don't have all this Stardust, I only have what I have. Well, fortunately for you, right, Pokebattler has this lovely Pokebox option, right? You can sync your Facebook to it, or you can use your Google account to sign up and get a Pokebox where you can upload your personal Pokemon to this, and instead of using the simulated different level Pokemon, you can use your Pokebox, right? So I'm going to switch to my Pokebox here, right? Switch into the Pokebox. So, oh wow, it went straight to Confusion Focus Blast. I'm going to stay consistent. Alright, so now you can see here, and these are sorted by power? Yeah, sorted by power right now, not DPS, right? So, sorted here, you got some of Ryan's swag Pokemon that I uploaded specifically for this. I guess somebody's having a pool party tonight, and the GF wanted me to know about that pool party. I'm still streaming. Yeah, 50 Pokemon in the box, but if you support Salandro with it, he'll give you more updated sims, and you can put more Pokemon in the box. I just signed up for his Patreon just because I use this all the time. It's like I may as well, you know, give credit where credit is due, right? You know what I mean? Like the guy deserves some of my cash, you know. So if you want to do that, that's up to you. And when you sign up for the battle box, you know, there'll be a link to the Patreon if you want to increase it. But it's up to you if you want to do that or not. But by uploading your Pokemon into the battle box, you can see how your own specific Pokemon will perform in this raid. So I got the best here, right? Because the best is the best. You know, it's my maxed out Tyranitar, Bite Crunch. It's the best, right? And it's going to be doing that, well, 24%. Where did we see that number? You know what I mean? But I have more derivative Tyranitars, and I can see how those derivative ones are performing, you know? And then if I'm thinking about doing my Snorlax or not, I only uploaded one Snorlax, so I can't see how like a worse one's performing. But you know, you see that value there, and you can see how your own Pokemon are performing. And once again, you know, it's going to take, you know, multiples of these for the simulations. So for the power, you're still going to want to be dividing by 6 to see what your individual Pokemon's individual performance and contribution is going to be. And then for the time to win, you're going to want to divide it by the number of deaths, with maybe a couple extra deaths thrown in to give you some wiggle room. So you add those all up, and you'll see what your percent contribution is. And if you're planning a low party raid with people, you just have to make sure that your powers go above 100. You might want to clear like 120 or something to give you some wiggle room, right? And then for the time, as long as your personal 6 Pokemon don't go over 300 seconds, then you will be set on time. And in that sense, if you're using 4 or 3 Tyranitars, you could reasonably slot in 2 Blissies and still not go over time and still have that extra cushion. So it's this advanced specific situation for low party attempts to clear that using Blissey, even possibly 2 Blissies, might give you a benefit, right? And I just want to clarify that these are under very specific, well thought out scenarios, right? So I thought you guys would appreciate that advanced tip, because this applies to all raids. You know, any raid you go into, you can find out what your Pokemon's individual power is. You can find out their individual time to contribute this damage, and you can puzzle out how much it takes for you to get to 20%. And then you got these high, slow DPS TDO options, and you got to be careful with them, because the larger the party size gets, the less likely they're going to be to contribute their damage, and you're going to wish that you put in more high DPS options, such as our boy Gengar here, who will die faster, but you know, you're going to get more of your TDO in if you're, you know, tier 5th or 6th Pokemon in a larger party size. Alright, so we got a question from Boo. Oh man, we got the Swag King here too. Oh, doing better than Hexor a little bit. They're all dying. Hexor, okay, so Boo. Let's say we're doing 10. We're 10 people doing a raid. Everybody does 10% damage, but 6 people faint and revive 15 seconds before the finish. Will the 4... Oh, you know, that's a very complicated question. Probably not. No. So basically, if the 4 people... Okay, so if everybody's doing 10%, they only did 10%, right? If they fainted and brought back themselves in, they clear their own personal damage bonuses, but you still maintain yours. And if you dealt 10% damage, you still only dealt 10% damage, so you're probably only going to get one bonus ball from that. So you want to be mindful of, you know, of those situations. And these are advanced tips, you know, so if you're not too concerned about getting 1 or 2 extra balls from Mewtwo, you know, if you're fairly confident you're going to have like the team majority, if you're fairly confident that you're going to maintain the gym, then you're then you're set. You know what I mean? Then you got nothing to sweat about. I'm not sweating Mewtwo too much, but I am going to be prepared to, you know, team up with my instinct buddies and help us go to victory with it and get the most amount of damage balls that we could possibly get for it, right? And the best way you can do that is by preparing, by paying attention to your power and your time to win, and then doing those mathematical steps I just taught you, right? I've been drinking a lot this episode. My mouth is getting very dry, right? So yeah, so I hope these advanced tips helped you out, right? I hope that you wrote down these, you know, these things like, okay, power divided by 6, right? And then we go time to win divided by the number of deaths plus like 1 or 2, perhaps even a higher number for room of error, right? So hopefully this will help you guys lead yourselves to victory. Hopefully this information, these advanced tips, oh man, Ryan Swag, right? Giving me these advanced tips, right? Courtesy of my boy Solandro, right? Sign up for your Patreon if you love him, I guess, right? Go Solandro, Swag Landro. He's been pretty nice to me about these questions. Okay, so how do I say that? Azagraula. Azagraula. I'm going to call you Aza. So Aza wants to know if I'm planning on talking about Gen 3 Pokemon anytime soon. You know, that's an interesting question. I could just say, oh yeah, that's right, 8-second delay, right? So I came to that conclusion before you messaged me. Yeah, I'm 8 seconds in the future. Superpower for streaming, right? Okay, so Gen 3 Pokemon. I'm not sure if I mentioned it earlier. I kind of hammered through this content very quickly. But I did just get done putting in the final draft for an updated Defender tier list for Pokebattler, GamePress, right? So I just got done updating the Defender tier list for GamePress. It's not out on GamePress yet. It'll be out on GamePress soon. How soon? I'd say give it a week at most, you know, and when it is updated, I'll definitely be promoting it on my Twitter and on the Facebook so you guys know. And I might just be tempted to do a stream on the Defender tier list to give you guys an idea of why I picked the Pokemon I did and how I feel that the Pokemon selected for the Defender tier list will benefit you in the current meta. I know gym defense is dead, but apparently not, because with these EX raids, yeah, like, have you seen the YouTube videos? Like, people are ready to tear each other's throats out trying to maintain the gym before the egg hatches. So you're going to tell me that you don't want to know how to defend that gym better? And I know our boy 29, error 29, error 27, error whatever number is going to be defending the gym the best. And we got our good boy Golden Raz. Golden Raz is going to be our boy. You know, he's going to help us out the best. But having a well-fortified gym, you know, it's got its benefits. And if you want to hold the gym, you know, 2 hours longer than usual, then, you know, paying attention to the Defender tier list might be good. But how does this correlate with Gen 3? Well, there are some predictions I can make about Gen 3 Pokemon based off of what I know about Pokemon stats, what I know about analyzing the offensive and defensive meta and stuff like that. So I could definitely have some interesting commentary on you for Gen 3. I'll think about it over the next couple of days, and I'll make an official announcement on the Twitter and the Facebook about Thursday, the next Thursday stream. And yeah, I could talk about it then. By all means, I could rope in some Gen 3 into the conversation, right, and help satisfy that. We're not going to talk about Slacking, okay? I don't want to talk about Slacking because I'm not going to talk about Slack. Like, we already know that Slacking is going to be stupid, and Niantic has proven to us that, you know, they let Blissey stay broke, and we all knew well ahead of time that Blissey was going to be broke. We knew we knew as Redditors and people interested in the game. You just look at Blissey and be like, that's going to be really stupid on defense. And then here we are. Erica, I'll answer your question after the stream. Okay. So we already knew, and we didn't anticipate it having Dazzling Gleam, which is like the cherry on top of the cake, you know, for Blissey just being ridiculous. If Blissey didn't even have Dazzling Gleam, it would still be ridiculous, you know? So Niantic let that happen. Now, they tried to nerf Mewtwo, right? And they did nerf Mewtwo. And maybe they only... I think they didn't nerf it to make it a weaker Pokemon for us. I think they nerfed it to make it easier to fight in the raid, right? So I don't know, Slacking comes out. Are they going to nerf Slacking? I'll talk about Slacking a little bit, I guess, if I end up doing the Defender tier list for next Thursday. So we'll have to see. I'll make an official announcement in the future. I don't wanna commit to anything this very instant, right? So yeah. So I'm well over time again. I'm trying to pack in too much content in these streams, and I should probably dial it back. But there was a lot to talk about today, because countering Mewtwo is important, and I wanted to get through the basic tips with you, and I wanted to get those advanced tips in, right? Help you do it better. And so yeah, so hopefully I'll be able to make time a lot better next week. Thank you for showing up, guys. Time to close my stream thing. Toodaloo.